Attention. Welcome to the Different Spectrums podcast. We dive into the wild world of mental health discussions. Get ready for profound talks, a sprinkle of humor and sarcasm, and a touch of colorful language. Just a quick heads up, our show reflects our individual opinions, which may not align with the standpoint of the podcast, our featured guests, or any related corporate entities. Our mission? To illuminate through laughter and satire because everyone needs a good chuckle. Chill out and don't stress over the small stuff. Legal troubles? No, thank you. Cancel culture? Please spare us. We'd rather keep this space lawsuit free. So buckle up, have a good time, and join us as we navigate the vibrant realm of mental health on the Different Spectrums podcast. Hey everybody, we back again.
Hey, we're back on live.
I'm Spencer, your co-host, and we have our licensed clinical therapist, Naz.
Suit and tie. Dr. Naz, suit and tie.
Remember, don't take us too seriously.
Or do. Completely up to you.
There you go. Also, don't forget to run up those likes for us. We'd really appreciate it. So, today we are going to be doing the hit TV show Cobra Kai that you can see on Netflix. Yes, exactly. We're going to be talking about a few different topics. We're going to be talking about PTSD. We're going to be talking about emotional damage. We're going to be talking about trauma, what a parent-child relationship and how that can affect us, whether it be positive or negative. And then we're also going to be talking about redemption. So we can talk about a few of those great topics as well as just overall the show and movie of Karate Kid. So, Nas, anything before we get into the show?
How do you like your redemption served, Spence? You like it served, in murder?
Yep. I love a good murder. It's fantastic. It's the best kind of thing you can really have.
You're in for luck because there's murder.
Yes, murder.
Men hugging. This is so we're gonna get a little hyper masculine with some murder, and then we're gonna get a little gay.
Per usual.
Yep, per usual. The scene's already made its round on the internet with Johnny Lawrence breaking down. So I really wanted to do this because of that scene. And then there's some other cool stuff in there too. There's some throwbacks with some AI with Miyagi. Like we got to do that. We already did the other shows. We got to do that. So I'm excited for all you to watch this with us, especially some of you that are in our age bracket. As statistics show, right? A lot of you in your 30s to 40s that listen to us. So I think some of you will really appreciate what we're going to do today. So let's have some fun. Let's check it out. Murder. Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop.
There it is.
There you go.
Maybe you know how to win this, Mr. Miyagi. Just tell me what to do. There's gotta be a way.
Danny, you're getting in that ring. It's open season on him and you.
What's the matter? Mommy not here to dress yet? Hey, I'm talking to you, punk.
You're gonna leave on the
Come on, come on.
No, I can't push it. Now you're gonna pay.
Get him a body bag! Yeah! All right. We do not train to be merciful here. Mercy is for the weak. Here, on the street, in competition. A man confronts you, he is the enemy.
The enemy deserves no mercy.
Right!
Mr. Miyagi?
Yeah!
Daniel-san. He's okay.
Why did you tell me you fought in the Saikai Taikai? That you killed someone? Why did you leave me all alone? Without any answers? I've been fighting so hard, Mr. Miyagi, trying to do what you would do. But we can't win. We can't.
Daniel-san. Answer. Same place as always. Remember, Miyagi teach, win, lose, no matter. No need fight anymore.
Miyagi's teachings with the world. And that's why I was so upset when I learned about his past. But then I realized none of that matters. Teachers may seem all-knowing, okay? But they are just human beings like the rest of us. They may have their flaws and their failures, but it's not on us to carry that. Our responsibility is to take the good lessons that we're taught and pass those along. So the fact that Sam and Robbie are okay not fighting means that Mr. Miyagi's legacy will live on, whether we win or lose.
I get that. And that's great for you. I mean it. But I don't know how to not fight. And winning this thing is my last shot. I'll be right back.
What the hell was that yesterday? Bring up all the stuff from the past? What, you expect me to forgive you?
I don't deserve forgiveness.
Yeah, we agree on that. So I'll never forgive you for what you did. I loved you, man. I idolized you. Every good thing about myself, strength, confidence, karate, you taught me. I only wanted to please you. So yeah, the night in the parking lot, December 19th, 1984, was the single worst moment of my life. But what hurt even more than being choked out was you abandoning me. You threw me away like trash. Right when I needed you most. You have no idea what those years were like. I trusted no one. Least of all myself. All because of you.
I'm so sorry, son. I can't change the past. I wish there was some way I could make it up to you.
Maybe there is.
Cobra Kai has named a replacement. Joining Tori Nichols on Team Cobra Kai will be Miguel Diaz. Coached by their two-time All-Valley champion and their new sensei, Johnny Lawrence.
This is bullshit. How can they do that?
They're former Cobra Kai. Yeah, this is how it was always supposed to end, Jock. You've been fighting your whole life. It's only fitting you got on the shield. Don't worry, it'll all be over soon.
One more point, and the Iron Dragons will be crowned Sekai Taikai champions.
Come on, Johnny, get up, man. He's way off balance. I'm not sure Miyagi-Do is gonna help.
Then try something else. You know how his mind works, Daniel-san. You are his sensei. Wolf wants to obliterate him. You must do something. Don't worry. We'll be all over soon.
Fighters, take your line. Ready. Turn. I'm out.
Look, Bruce, there's nothing you can say. This guy knows his shit. It's on a whole other level.
What dojo are you fighting for?
What?
What dojo are you fighting for?
Cobra Kai.
And does defeat exist in your dojo? Does it?
No.
Does fear exist in your dojo?
No.
And I sure as shit know that pain doesn't exist either. So stop acting like a little pussy and get out there and kick the living shit out of this asshole. You hear me?
Yes, Sensei.
Fighters, take your line. Ready. Fight!
Is that all you got?
Wouldn't a fly swatter be easier?
Man who catch fly with chopstick. Accomplish anything.
Hey, Mr. Miyagi, look.
You beginner luck.
I'll always have the memories.
Hey everyone, have you been looking for something to help you when you feel extra fidgety? How about when you have a sensory overload? Well, I'm here to introduce you to the Oh No Fidget Roller. It helps me regulate and also feel at ease. The Ono roller comes in 5 different materials, including plastic, aluminum, steel, titanium, and silicone. You can use our code DSP10 to get 10% off your order when you visit onoroller.com and get your roll on. So, before we get into it, just want to say rest in peace to Pat Morita, who was Mr. Miyagi in all of the great Karate Kid movies. Passed away a long time ago,
Yeah.
but just wanted to say RIP, since he's still representing Mr. Miyagi to this day, right? So why not?
Whole franchise. Yeah, it's all based on Miyagi though, and this and that. He makes a comeback, so he's looking good in the comeback.
Yeah, scary. Robots are bringing people back to life.
It was pretty actually scary. I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of weird. But everything's good. Everything's good. Well, that's the first thing we're starting with. Oh yeah, I guess we'll dig into it. Yeah.
There you go. So, first scene that we watched, Daniel's son is having a dream, right? Or a nightmare. Depends on how you look at it. And all of a sudden, these skeleton people that also were, so it was like Cobra Kai back in the first Karate Kid. They dressed up as skeletons. They started attacking. And, obviously, Daniel's son's outnumbered once again. And then the short but powerful Mr. Miyagi comes in to save the day once again, and was talking, and they finally have a conversation, right? This is obviously 30 years later.
Yeah.
Right. And, after Mr. Miyagi passed, Daniel's son's having another conversation with his mentor, his confidant, and his dad, yeah. And he's just saying, like, why didn't you tell me? Because apparently Mr. Miyagi was in this tournament, Sakai Takai, and he was also like a criminal. Like, he also had this past, right? Murder. And has all this, and like, why didn't you tell me? And Mr. Miyagi is just like, the fuck you want me to do, man?
I'm already dead.
I'm already dead. I was a war veteran.
Yeah.
What else can I do for you?
Lost my kid and my son. Like, I know I'm doing the best I can. Yeah.
I treated you well. Like,
I did you good.
Taught you how to survive high school in California.
Correct.
With karate.
I stopped you from getting your ass kicked by a bunch of white boys. Like, did I not prove I love you?
made you. I made you.
I made
what
you
are.
I know.
And
you owe
yet
your
you're
life to me.
Still like bitching 30 years later.
Grow the fuck
about
up.
What the fuck I did. Why don't you shut the fuck up, Daniel, son, and just be okay with whatever comes out.
Stop digging up the past. Grow some fucking. Give her balls a tug. How about it?
Just let him die. Let him fucking rest in peace. Like, what the fuck, Daniel, son? Why? Like, I'm sorry, but like, you already found out, like, okay, veteran, his fucking wife and child died, right? That's the first movie. First movie. Then you find out later on, he brings you to Japan, even though he didn't have to. You fucking meet his dad, who's on his deathbed. That's a second movie. Yeah. And then, you meet the other love of his life.
Yep,
and all that. And then, he's teaching you all these life lessons.
Everything.
And how to, and all this. And then all of a sudden you're just like, man, you killed a guy once. Like, and you're in this tournament for karate and you killed a guy. Like, just let it go, man. Just let it go.
I don't have to tell you everything, my guy.
I know. Like, man, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me about all your shit either?
I know.
Right? I know you ain't been living clean all these years, Daniel, son. The fuck?
Jesus Christ.
Got a bitch on the side, and you want to talk about me killing a guy. Shut the fuck up, man.
Give your balls a tug.
God,
Oh, that was a fantastic
so
pivot.
stupid.
Um,
Thank you.
but he randomly does just start crying. He's like, "Why didn't you tell me?" And I'm just like, "Bruh, that man's literally giving you everything.
What else do you want? He gave you a fucking car when you were in high school, bro.
House to live."
Like, yeah.
So I assume there's multiple different emotions that are going on there. He feels betrayed. He's trying to figure out what's going on with his father figure. He's also just trying to understand, like, was Miyagi a monster? And so this leads us into some of our topics today, which are stop putting people on this pedestal,
Yes.
which we'll get to in a second. The biggest thing is out of that conversation, he's asking for like guidance. Even in death, he's still asking guidance from this person that's passed long ago. And he says, you know, hey man, win or lose, like who gives a shit? You don't have to fight. Why are you fighting? And so I guess that allows him to like not let his daughter fight and continue on with the fight. You know,
Well, it's like also like, bro, you're 50 years old. Like
you don't have to keep fighting.
Like even fucking Mr. Miyagi was like, I'm not fighting anymore.
Yes.
Like he did for like protection and things like that, protecting others. That's what he used it for. But he wasn't seeking out fights or anything like that. And he wasn't definitely trying to like make a dojo for other kids to start fighting as well.
Nope.
Right. So he's not really going for what Mr. Miyagi even stood for in the first place. He's mainly just like he thinks that's what Mr. Miyagi would have wanted. And
a lot of it feels out of ego throughout the entire movie. A lot of it feels ego based.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, what else do you got to prove, man? What else you got to prove?
What else you got to prove? You got everything, man. You got and that's why I dislike when he messes with Johnny Lawrence so much, because Johnny got nothing and he's poor and this and that. I said, man, chill out with the guy. At what point in time do you realize you've got so much and Johnny's got nothing? And so you see that dynamic throughout the whole 6 years of the show. Is the have versus the have not, and then how he doesn't respect him. It's a whole thing.
Right.
So it's interesting we see though is these two wounded men. Mm-hmm. One of them got a really good, here's what we learned from this, Spence. As a father, as a man, you're going to fuck it up no matter what. You can be an abuser like Kreese.
Yeah. Either way.
Or you can give
him
everything.
Money and the other one doesn't. So.
You give him everything like Miyagi, he's still going to fuck him up.
Yeah.
So you parents out there,
it doesn't matter.
If you put cigarettes out on their hands, it's okay.
You know? Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, that'd be great. Don't do that.
Please don't do that. You did not hear us. We did not say that. I do not condone violence.
No. Or cigarettes to children. Yeah.
You just put it out on their soft spot on their head.
Don't do that. Probably don't smoke either. Let's just put that out there.
Yeah, probably don't smoke around your kids either. Right? Yeah, let's not do that. Let's not do that.
But yeah.
Interesting scene, man. When you saw the scene with me for the first time, you get little goosebumps, you get a little tingle.
No, and I'll say why. Like, even though I think it's a good scene and I think it's pretty cool that they, could have that scene. It's always weird to see like these just AI bots and things like that kind of come into the thing, because it's just weird because these people have passed on, and if they got if they got the okay from like the family and things like that, which I hope they did. I don't know. I haven't done research on it, so I have no idea. But if they got like, the okay from the family, then that's great. But it's also kind of weird just seeing like these people kind of come back to life, and when I think they should just kind of be left alone, and like they passed on in life and in fiction for a reason, right? And we don't really need to keep on pushing that all the time. We don't have to like keep, and I know this show is like all nostalgia and things like that, but we literally don't have to bring back Mr. Miyagi. That was kind of like the whole point. And I like that it's a dream sequence, so that then we could kind of have that like just that moment of them talking and everything. But it's always kind of weird for me to kind of see,
because they do it a lot in Star Wars.
Yeah, which like in that I'm like,
and they do it in a couple other shows that I'm thinking of too, where they bring back like this past figure. Oh, Paul Walker in the Fast and the Furious movies, they act like he's still there.
Yeah. The cool thing with that, I will say though, is that they brought in like the brother to do like the capture.
Oh yeah,
for, like,
I remember
the body.
That. Yep.
And then they kind of just put like Paul Walker's face on him.
I remember that. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. But
What about when the skeletons came out though? When the skeletons came
That's
out, were
pretty
you a little
cool.
scared? The skeleton part was dope. I was like,
Yeah,
oh
so
man,
scary.
let's be real. A bunch of white guys in skeleton masks. Like, I'm fucking terrified.
Yeah, it was terrifying in the first movie. And they were kids.
I
Like,
know.
can you imagine that though? Like you have like a group of fucking like high schoolers that know karate, just
Come on,
like
bro.
following you around,
Nope.
and like they're trying to beat the shit out of you and even like kill you. Like they were legit.
Yeah, they were trying to kill him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's pretty terrifying. And then they're also in skeleton masks to
I
put on
know.
top of that. And it's Halloween. So you're just like,
Ah.
this is trippy.
And you don't know how far hazing's going these days, man. Them white folk crazy now, bro. So
I mean, look, man, they had that whole like storyline with that one kid whose brother was in jail, and Russo's son was actually bullying him.
Yeah.
And then he went to Cobra Kai
Yep.
to learn karate because he was getting bullied. That
Yep.
was tough, man. That was tough because he was just like this innocent kid
I
who
know.
just wanted to have like he was new to his school and wanted to have friends. And it's like that's terrible because that's exactly what's happening.
The bullying is horrible, man.
The bullying is terrible.
Horrible, horrible. There's so many kids. This is a decent pivot, actually.
Yeah.
There's so many kids committing suicide because of bullying.
Mhm.
Spence,
I thought they were going to go that way. To be honest with you,
Okay.
I thought they were going to go that direction where like he would have like took his own life,
Really?
the kid, because it like he was getting like terrorized in that school and stuff. Like they were even acting like they were even catfishing him by using a
remember.
girl on the
Fake accounts.
game to like try
Yep.
and get him to go places, and was just and dress up as like a certain character, and it was just like, what the fuck? This is so messed up.
The thing is that shit's for real. It happens in these
Yeah.
schools.
Yeah.
A lot of autistic folks, man, getting bullied, right? I get clients left and right, Spence.
Mhm.
They taking them out of public school and they're putting them in them not work from homes. What's the online school?
Mm.
And why? Because of bullying. The bullying is so bad that the kids will be like suicidal. And it's either take them out of public school or private school, and then you got to put them in the homeschooling.
Right.
And imagine already not the best for social skills, a lot of us autistics, and then you're going to put us in just at home with your mom. Like, that's not going to help.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of the thing too, is like for like even the times, right? Like for Karate Kid, it was like you didn't have any of those resources.
No.
It was like you're going to school. Like no matter what, like even if you're getting bullied, you're going to school because
Yep.
guess what? There aren't any other options. And although I think it's good that we do have those options, it's still a terrible thing. It's gotten worse because now it's not just in the school anymore; it's out of the school too, and it's on there forever,
Yep.
right? And yeah,
So,
Yeah.
Spence, you mind if I do a little pivot? I didn't think about this until just now. It's a political pivot.
uh-huh.
Okay. It won't get weird.
No.
They're
Go.
doing a lot of this school of choice stuff now, right? That's the new president is pushing all this where they get these vouchers.
Mhm.
And the school of
Private
choice
school.
stuff is like kind of cool in theory. Like if
Yeah.
you want to go to a nicer school in a different district, then you can go to that nicer school in that district, and it's easy. You transfer. You don't have to stay within your lines.
Mhm.
But everywhere where this has been done,
Mhm.
school of choice without the vouchers, but school of choice everywhere is people of color or poor folks don't stay at that school for longer than 1 year.
Right.
Because they want to, because of the better education, environment, right, and all this stuff. But the actuality is they never fit in. They're continuously bullied, and then they feel unintelligent and worse. And also the economics to travel to get to that school is almost impossible. So they usually do it for about a year statistically, and then they always go back to their commute school where the bus
Right.
picks them up, and maybe it's a worse school, but like at least you don't feel like a piece of shit with all these other white kids. And it could be multiple races, but they're usually going to more affluent schools, which are usually whiter.
Yeah.
So now there's this thing called, I was one of those kids. That shit did not work out. I was like, Pops, I'm going to go back to the brown and black school because this shit ain't, I literally want to die.
Mhm.
Literally want to die. And then it was fantastic. We didn't learn shit at my school, but at least I didn't want to die.
Well, and that's kind of the problem also is that these like public schools, based on where you are, like these different curriculums are going to be different from then the private schools that you're being taught at, right? And
Correct.
so you're going to have that, even though you're you're in like 5th grade or something like that, in one school for like the public sector, and then you go to the private school, you're you might have a lower grade technically
Correct.
based on the curriculum. So then not only are you going lower to than what you were before, but now you have to relearn all these different things based on that curriculum.
And then you might get bullied on that.
Yeah, of course you will.
Yeah, because now you're like some dumbass fucking fifth grader that should be in the 6th, 7th grade.
Yeah, and that's also the problem is that we want to put all this money into like these private schools, but then what happens to those who are in the public schools who don't want to go over there?
So
right?
that's the next thing.
Yeah.
What you're getting into is the money and the vouchers.
Mm-hmm.
So they want to do this voucher system, Spence. If you've heard what them talk about, it's where they give you a voucher and then you take that and that's the free money, the money from the government, but they're going to give it to private schools.
Mm-hmm.
So in the multiple states that do the voucher system, that's not a thing in Michigan. It's only been like affluent white kids that use that to go to more private schools. So it's not the poor kids using it. It's already the affluent kids, have money kids that are going to even more private institutions for profit. And so what that does is you take that body away from public school. Now they don't get the funding for the public school. So slowly all the public schools in that sector, Spence, have all gone belly up and bankrupt.
Yeah.
And the poor kids can't go anywhere. So now the kids have no education.
Yeah.
Now you got to bust them 20, 30 miles to the next school district because you've given all the money away. And so it leaves America in a worse situation, is doing this voucher system. We're going to find out soon. Go ahead.
It's just not going to be good. They've been trying to push this voucher shit since forever. They've been trying to do it. They've been trying to push people into private schools because they're like, well, my child isn't getting, or like these children aren't getting the education
that they need,
and they're in these terrible environments. It's like, yeah, because you took the money away and you're not putting it into the schools to get better.
Correct.
At all. So what are they supposed to do?
Yes, they're working with bare bones. Create
money out of thin air.
No.
For these, like from it's not work and it's not labor, it's education. You need to put the money from the government into the schools so that then they keep going. And that now these areas, these poor areas, actually have something to want to learn, to want to go to want to maybe even uplift that area that they're in. But unfortunately, we're seeing once again that it's just one of those things where they're not going to do that. And they think like this is either going to save money or it's going to like make things better. And it's just not.
It's going to help out a lot of folks that already got cash. It's not going to help out the middle class to lower class, specifically black and brown folks.
Yeah.
And the reason why I want to stick on this a little bit, I know it's a little divergence, but we're talking about schooling, teachers, and definitely some racial stuff, some bullying in here. Is, for those of you at home that listen to us, and there's quite a few people that listen to us, and rarely do we get really, really political on here. Obviously, where me and Spencer stand on many things. But the funny thing is a lot of y'all talking about you don't like DEI. Hey, man, I don't like certain shit about DEI. But you understand that everyone with autism, neurodivergence, mental health issues, ADHD, that falls under diversity, equity, inclusion. You understand that your children won't have...
Fill out your applications. Like, look out when you fill out your applications. Does it say, do you have a disability? Do you have anything in there? And ADHD, autism, those are all things that are in those like
protected things.
Yeah. So
also, those of you that have children with special needs, those of you that have children with autism, these are more needs. If they have an IEP, you understand that that's protected under all this diversity, equity stuff. Disability is part of that. And so just for some of you that are listening, I'm not trying to sway you one way or another, just making sure that you understand the full consent of what's going on and understanding that your children will be impacted and many other children will be impacted by the certain things that are being moved through the education system. Because there'll be less funding for therapists that are neurodivergent affirming or social workers, caseworkers, more teacher professionals, right? Not just the teachers. There'll be less funding for that because they're like, we're going to treat you all as neurotypicals. That kid can function who's banging his head against the wall. He's fine. Little Nas that was running around with a knife. Sorry, I was. You probably just kick him out of school because you don't have the teachers to support him, which would be a horrible thing because I'm highly intelligent. I was just an idiot. I had some other shit going on too.
Highly intelligent, but an idiot.
Well, you know, he was what we would call psychopath junior, psychopath
okay.
light. He had some of the characteristics of a serial killer, not all of them. Supposedly, right? What did the doc say? I didn't wet the bed when I was a kid, so technically I'm okay.
Yeah, it's great. You're fine.
I'm fine. I made 2 out of the 3.
Nice.
Nice. I'm such a great boyfriend.
Jesus Christ.
I just wanted to put some knowledge on these things because, right, the schools are where a lot of kids are getting bullied. This scene is when he's getting bullied. Then Miyagi steps up. Miyagi's the father figure, the mentor, right, the guiding light, the coach, whatever you want to call it. And we all have those in our lives. And if you don't, I'm very sorry. Me and Spencer talk about it all the time. Please try to seek out mentorship. Please. For those of you that are neurodivergent, if you got parents that are listening or you're listening, try to find another therapist that is actually neurodivergent. Don't just go to a neurotypical therapist that doesn't know shit about neurodivergence. So I got goosebumps from this scene, right? Because it's emotional, this and that, the skeletons, I'm tweaking out. The fight scene was kind of cool, right? And then he's like, you just don't have to fight anymore. And I felt so good when he said that. I'm like, bro, I'm tired. I don't want to fight.
Yeah.
As you get older, you realize you're just sick of fighting, bro. You're just like, fuck it. I'm not even going to cuss this guy out today.
Not this time.
You start picking and choosing your battles, I think, as you get older, Spence. I don't know about you. I feel like
I think you should.
Yeah, I think you should. You should. Look at you educating me. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I called my boss a motherfucker the other day. That was fun.
I mean, there's probably not the good kind.
Bro, she was like, what'd you say to me? I was like, yeah, I called you motherfucker. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. That's good. As we get into this still, holding people, it's like, we're talking about our mentors.
Let's do it.
Right. We're talking about these coaches and things like that. And we also talk about not putting them on a pedestal and having just making sure that we don't have too high of standards for them, because at the end of the day, they are just people that are just trying to help young adults try to grow into being great adults. But we all make mistakes, we all do things that we regret, and at this point, and once again I'm harping on this, but it's like I feel like Danielson, all the things, they have 3 movies together, right?
Yes.
3 movies together. I feel like you should learn from, like, if I went to somebody and I know what their faults are, and yet I'm still like, why didn't you tell me about this other fault? It's like, at this point, why don't you just understand that I'm a human being and that I wasn't perfect when we were together? And I understand how he looks up to him, not only as a mentor, but a father figure, because he didn't have a father.
Yep.
Right. That was in his life. But we've seen him when he was drunk and talking about his family, and while he was in the war, and all these different things. And even then, he wasn't judging him. Danielson was not judging him at all. He was just like, okay, this is what he went through. He had a Medal of Honor. He did all these great things as not only a veteran, but tried to be there as a husband, as somebody at war as well, while he was a husband, and then lost his child and his wife at the same time. Like, he's not a perfect individual, and he's done things. But why don't I give him, even in death, why don't I give him
grace,
like some slack for being somebody who might have killed somebody at one point?
It was an accident.
He killed somebody.
It was an accident.
Right. He killed a lot of people in the war too.
Oh, he did. He got some of them. He got some of them.
But okay. But and I think that we should all have a moment where if we find out something about our mentors and coaches that's not hurting anybody else, that we should we should give them a benefit of a doubt. But then also make sure we know that they're human beings, and that if they do something that we are not okay with, that that we can challenge that. We should also challenge that as well, because if you see something that's not okay that your mentor or leader is doing, then you should call them out on that, because it's fucked up. They shouldn't be doing. So
I agree with you, Spence. So to break it down a little bit more, is for those of you that got teachers or professors that you look up to, understand that they are really intelligent folks, but they could also have issues at home. They could have issues at concentration. Maybe they smoking cigarettes. Maybe they hitting the devil's lettuce, you know. The people like have shit. Maybe they've been divorced. Maybe they got tattoos or piercings. I had a client once that said, you know, I don't trust no one with tattoos because they're thugs. And I pull up my sleeve. I'm like, thugging ain't easy, bitch. It's we hold people to such high standards. My clients even hold me to high standards, Spence. You know that. They be like, nah, you're the best and you're such a good guy and a big old teddy bear. I'm like quite terrible. I'm like quite the biggest asshole you'll ever meet. And I try to make sure that people understand that I'm also very fallible in my emotions and mood. I pop off sometimes. I have panic attacks sometimes. I ain't got my shit together. I can show you executive dysfunction issues with a million different things in the house, but you mostly see good stuff. And so I think it's good to show as a provider, a mentor, some of the messed up sides. Don't always show perfection. That way they have a good, accurate lens on how to see the world. By the way, I never trust anyone that looks perfect in anything. I automatically will never trust you. I'm like, you ain't got nothing wrong, motherfucker. You ain't got nothing in your teeth. Nothing.
Perfect.
Something.
Perfectly
So
white, straight teeth.
What Spencer said, co-sign it. Don't need to put the pressure on them. Also, I don't want you to like hate them if they do something wrong, or let's say I misspeak sometimes. I may say the wrong thing. Maybe it's insensitive to this and that. And then, hold me accountable. I apologize, take accountability, and I modify my behavior. But we do mess up. And that's not a reason to write people off. But if they are continuously messing up and hurting people, then it's time to write them off.
Yeah.
So understand, mentors got shit too. And you kind of want them to, because that's how a lot of us learn is through our mistakes. I tell people you only get wisdom through trauma. You can be smart as shit and like lived experiences, but you get that old man wisdom, like you sitting down in that rocking chair, just dropping knowledge and shit while you smoking your doobie/cigar. Well, let me tell you, goddamn it, let me tell you right now.
Here comes the old slave coming back. Thought we were done with him, but nope.
No,
he's back.
I'll bring him back.
He always come back.
He always
no
come back.
matter
He
what.
like Mr. Miyagi.
Even when he tries to run away, he always comes back.
God, sir. I got you. I'm not gonna say the last word. I got you, motherfucker.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just remember, keep that in mind. I've got a few people I looked up to, and I saw a few things. I was like, interesting. But sometimes the things I see is nice because I see my flawed, sinful ass in them. I remember one of my mentors, he's like, yeah, Nas, I was a drug addict most of my life. I'm like, I fuck with you. Let's do it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
Shoot
you.
up right now.
Yeah,
Do it.
Let's do it. You want some? A student in my office. I said, what you need is some drugs. She's like, oh, never. I just open up the cabinet drawer in my office. She's like,
oregano?
Calm down, kid. I don't have fucking drugs in my office.
It's good.
I know. It's good. It's really good. Great mentor. I love that people think that I'm this magnificent person. I'm just like, just you see.
Just wait.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was magnificent talk. I enjoyed it. It was good for me. I got mine.
I'm glad you. And I'm spent. Do we want to kind of touch on like what would the people who we lost, what would they say in like hard times? Like, what would they want to? What would we want them to say, and what would they actually say during like our hard times when we're just getting mentally, maybe even physically, or kicked to shit?
What's a white guy's attacking you in your dream?
Keep on coming at me.
For some people, that's a dream. Some nightmare. Some people, that's a dream.
Yeah.
Certain moments of my life, I'm like, oh Lord.
Wait a minute. Keep on coming.
No, real shit though, Spence. So
yeah,
I challenge everyone to think about like if you were in an anxious moment in life, phase of life, who would that person be that comes to you? for spiritual guidance, emotional guidance, for calming, for grounding, for that wisdom, that wise individual wisdom, like who would that person be? And what would be the scenario? Would it be you in schoolwork, you in job, you and your partner? Would it be grief of someone else? Like what would the situation be if you were to have this dream like he was, LaRusso? And what would they say to you? His words were, win or lose, doesn't matter. You don't have to fight anymore. You're fine. What would they say to you? If you could, I would love for you to comment on Spotify or comment in the post, and please let us know. We're trying to get a little bit more engagement, and I would love for you to comment. What would who would that person be, and what would they say to you? This is a very magnificent thing to do in therapy when you're doing meditations and trying to calm and ground yourself. That you're confident that you'll be fine and safe. So I usually have you visualize this. So I want you to think of this, everyone. Paying attention, then we can use this for your visualizations, or just if you're tweaking in your office, tweaking in the car, tweaking when you're trying to get your baby to sleep and they won't go to sleep, and you're like, I'm about to murder them. What would your person that you look up to say? So if you could, comment on Spotify or YouTube.
There you go.
All
right. Let's jump into the next scene.
right.
Yes. So, backstory, if you haven't watched Karate Kids, all of them are, by the way, are on Netflix at this moment. So at the end of Karate Kid 1, Johnny Lawrence loses to Russo with the famous crane kick. And
Fuck is a swan?
I don't know. What do you mean? What is a swan?
Motherfucker knows his birds. The famous pigeon kick.
Yeah, you should be. That's the only bird you fucking know. I didn't know what a crane was, jackass.
I don't know what a crane is. I don't know.
Anyways, so Johnny loses, and then at the beginning of the second part, Johnny and Kreese, who is his mentor and sensei, is actually like beating him up because he got second place. And Johnny's like, "What? Well, I tried my best." And Kreese is just like not happy with it because he wants the best from Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai. There it is. And so Kreese, and then Mr. Miyagi steps in, saves Johnny's life pretty much because he was going to beat the hell out of him.
Yeah, he's choking him out.
Yeah. And so he saved him, and that's the end of Johnny. Like, we don't see him until Cobra Kai, where we see that Johnny is living in a shitty apartment, drinking heavily, and pretty much is just done with like living in general, just done living what life is, right? He's on the bare minimum of what like kind of like what life is, and he's put himself in that position because he doesn't see himself as anything more than
trash,
what his coach at the end of, or at the beginning of part 2 told him he was, which was nothing, right? And so cut to the last season of Cobra Kai, where Johnny and Kreese finally have just this moment where Johnny tells Kreese like what he did to him and how much that all meant to him and how he loved him so much. And once again, we have like this person who doesn't have a father figure in his life, but who did at one point, and then just he threw him away like he was trash. And that affected his whole life. That changed his outcome of life. He was supposed to be going to college. He was supposed to be doing all this great stuff. And now he's just, once again, not living life to its fullest. And so we have this scene where they hug it out finally, right? It's not only that they're hugging it out, but Johnny finally tells him exactly how he felt and what was the turning point of his life, to the person that he looked up to. I don't think that all the time we get this opportunity in real life to where we can tell the people that meant so much to us, that might have thrown us away or betrayed us in some way, and how we felt and how that changed our lives in from the most part. But I think this was a great scene to see. Um, Closure, right? Closure between the two. Even though Kreese is like this basket case
Piece of
who
shit.
just manipulates everything. He
Mhm.
his even took Johnny's son and brought him into his dojo and started teaching him stuff and tried to be a father figure to him also. It's it's messed up.
Yep.
It's messed up, right? So there's a lot of history between the two and between these seasons. But at the end of the day, it was great to see that kind of closure, and then also relating back to like that part 2 of Karate Kid also. But yeah.
What you see in the last few episodes of the season 6, the final season and final finale, is like he's saying he's a piece of shit, Kreese. He's realizing it because he accidentally gets this other kid murdered at the end of the mid-season
It was
end.
like part 2, right?
Yeah,
Part 2
episode
of
6,
season
10,
6.
something like that. Yeah. So he gets this kid murdered, and he's like, I'm a piece of shit, this and that. He's realizing that he's done a lot of horrible things. I'm like, yeah, now when you're 80, you realize it when you're 80.
He also realized it through like 6 seasons
I know.
of shittiness.
I know. 6 seasons. We're talking like 40 years of shit. And before that, in the military, he was a horrible guy killing his own guys.
Well, to be like, that was iffy because his commander was also like a piece of shit,
Mhm.
and then that's what really brought him down when he had to like throw him in a snake pit.
Yep.
There's a lot that goes on
There's
in
a
this
lot.
show.
White people be
There's a
doing
lot.
some crazy shit.
Yeah. They're like, Vietnamese keep on trying to make us do karate and shit. Like, what the fuck?
So we get to this scene. This is one of the best scenes in the entire fucking franchise for me, because it's so poignant on how the parent figure, the parent dynamic, the father figure is so important in a child's life. Mother figure too, but specifically we're talking about the father right now. Any of my kids that come to me, they got some type of parent wound. Usually there's a parent wound when they're having trouble with their relationships. There's always something, right? And how do they trust themselves? How do they trust others? It was never role modeled for them. They never saw what healthy, good love or connection, intimacy, emotional regulation look like. They never saw that. They see the anger, betrayal, hostility, violence. And so you get this narcissistic, psychopathic teacher who molds this kid narcissistically and says, you're everything because of me. You're nothing without me, right? He'll gas you up and love bomb you and then shit on you when you do horrible. A lot of emotional abuse. So that's what he does to all his students that he does with Kreese. Johnny Lawrence doesn't do that with his kids. He does his real best to like be a good person, but he has a hard time articulating it, showing it, being vulnerable because he's scared. And in this moment, he tells his father figure, as I loved you, I trusted you. And then he starts tearing up. And what did you do? You threw me away like trash. You beat me in public. Not only did you dislike me, but you told me I was worthless. And you literally beat me in public. And he said, I trusted no one after that. Why would you trust? If someone that's supposed to love you the most throws you away or betrays you or traumatizes you, your ability to trust anyone goes out the door, Spence. You know how many trauma victims I work with, like horrendous shit? Changes them forever. How are you supposed to know if this is a good person or not? Because your dad, your mom, your auntie, your uncle, this other person in your family, they broke you. And so now your ability to know who's safe and who's not safe is polluted because you've realized even the people that treat you the best could also horrendously hurt you. It's a horrible place to be in life. So then you don't get second guess yourself. Then you never trust yourself. And you're always hyper vigilant to every relationship you're ever in. So what do? You fuck them all up and you make sure no one gets too close. You do the same thing that Wolverine that we talked about in last week's episode. Push everyone away. You'll never be hurt. But then again, you're never going to have any real love or joy, intimacy. What is he going to do like Wolverine? He's going to drink himself to death, Johnny Lawrence. Drinks and drinks and drinks. Aggressive, angry, beating up people. The scene we didn't show is when he's at his mother's grave and he's getting ready to go to prison. And he said, I fucked everything up. I'm sorry. I'm probably not going to see you for a while because I'm going to prison. And then like, a bunch of stuff happens and he starts teaching again. It sounded like he was going to commit suicide. And so this is the closure that all my clients want, Spence, and most of them will never get. Because either that parent or guardian will die, they've completely cut them off, or my students just don't have the swag to say it. And so, to be honest, sometimes I don't want them to say it to that person because I don't know if that other person is going to hurt them more. Okay. So how does therapy work and help this? Therapy is a place where we can bond and make this connection, right? Like we're homies, but we're not homies because you're paying me. But I try to get you most comfortable with me so that we can build on this relationship, intimacy, emotions, and then we can go replicate it outside in the real world. Therapy isn't just about talking you out of the crazy shit that you believe in your head. Sometimes it's just role modeling that you can have healthy human contact and them not want anything from you. And then we make sure that you can do it in the public sector, making sure that we're checking in on your anxieties, making sure you're not too attached, too needy, too avoidant. Right? That's what therapy helps you do. It helps you rebuild your trust in humanity after someone hurt you in a bunch of ways I'm not going to say. So there's no reason to be visual, but hurt you in a bunch of ways. So this is a magnificent scene of the pain that even a man, and many men hold, of how fucked up we are, and we can't love because either we weren't taught or we were and it was stripped. One story and I'll be done. This little girlie makes me smile all the time. She's a grown-ass woman. But when I talk to her, she's just like a little kid. And I see it every once in a while when we talk about certain things with some of my women that I work with. Some of my boys too, but some of my women. And you'll see like that little girl inside them, the little 3-4-year-old just having fun, doodling, drawing. And then the father or the mother, but normally the father will rip that childhood away. Like, stop doing that. I don't want you to do this. I don't want you to do your arts and crafts. I don't want you to be jolly. I want you to shut the hell up and mind your business. I need you to take care of your other sisters or daughters. I need you to step, and they lose their childhood. Some of my boys, fantastic boys. Alcoholic father, shut the fuck up. Don't cry. Don't be like smiling and shit. Right? Don't be doing those kitty girly things. And the kid's like, what the fuck? I'm like 4 years old. I don't know. What are you talking about? And so you see the light just be ripped out of my kids. Grown-ass women and men. And then it's up to me to put it back in there, which is like super fucked up. One of my clients the other day goes, it was horrible. It felt horrible to me. I'm unlucky. I'm just so unlucky. I let him say that because I'm like, kid, you're not unlucky. You're being kind of an asshole right now. But you feel unlucky because you continuously get shit on from a young age. And you may make it and be very grateful of a million things, but because you kept getting shit on, going from a crease to next thing, the next boy, then the next boy, the next part, you just keep getting shit on and it sucks. Eventually you're like, it must be me. No, it's not. Your ability to pick humans is a little fucked. And so you keep picking humans that are kind of fucked. Me and Spence have talked about this. You're not unlucky out there, individuals. I'm going to go full circle on that unlucky thing at the end when we talk about Johnny and his win. So 40 years it took this fucker to do some healing. Hopefully he doesn't take y'all 40 years.
Yeah.
40 years to get the closure that he needed as a grown man. Whew. It's tough. 40 years. And then we got the next scene. So you just hyped Kreese to be a good guy, right?
Sure. I pretty much say he was a piece of shit, but yeah, good guy. Yeah.
Does this white man get his redemption, Spence? And before you even get to the scene, real quick,
Oh.
does this cover up the sins? No. He's too
No,
big of a piece of shit.
he literally manipulated children to do his bidding,
You're right.
to like not only fight other children, but to commit crimes as well. Like he was literally like the head of a gang,
Yeah.
a karate gang.
Yeah.
No,
No.
no. And he also got a kid murdered. So, wow, you got one psychopath to kill another psychopath. It's great. It's
So
lovely.
you can explain this scene if you want to quickly, but then why the fuck do you think he even did this?
I mean, look, I'm gonna explain it as best I can. Kreese and Silver, two psychopaths in the
Franchise.
Karate Kid franchise, and they both went to war together. Kreese saved Silver's life in the war. Yeah, and then all of a sudden they both came up. They were the founders of Cobra Kai, and throughout the movies and show, they just committed heinous crimes. And Silver especially, like with Kreese, like I think his manipulation is a lot more gentle. He has a gentle manipulation, while Silver, he's just a psycho. He's just a straight up psycho.
Yeah.
Who was on meds. He was like, when Kreese first saw Silver again, Silver was just like, man, I was high on cocaine and just living through the 80s, and I was terrorizing children. Yeah, or a child. And it's funny because, like, Jesus Christ, I didn't think he did like cocaine in the fucking movie.
Well,
I thought he was just a psycho. I thought he was just crazy.
He's doped up.
I haven't seen part 3 in a while, so I don't know. But yeah, and then so we get to this part where they're fighting on a boat, and then they both die in the middle of the ocean. Nobody knows. I don't think anybody really cares. It's like one of those things where, like an evil person in your life, like, just goes away, and you're like, I don't know if they're gonna come back or not, because they're both crazy, and they both were terrorizing the children of that area in California.
For real?
So, yeah, they just, yeah,
so not pro Silver or pro Kreese, I see.
No, none. They're both terrible, terrible people.
What do you have against the white man?
I mean, as we can see, they commit like the most heinous crimes. Nothing's happened to them, really.
The one
like,
goes to
Kreese
prison.
goes to prison, but then he gets out. He escapes.
He gets out, and then he doesn't go back somehow. Like, they never call the police.
No, they're just like, it's fine. He's okay.
It's fine. He's one of the good ones.
He's trying to teach them karate.
He's one of the good ones.
Yeah, literally. Like, and let me tell you something. Nobody, if any people of color were starting to put together fucking gang of karate filled children beating the shit of other children, they'd be going to prison.
You'll be going to prison.
Like, there's no way you don't go, this person is a leader of a gang.
Yes.
We need to get rid of them. But for some reason, since it's A, karate, and B, they're white dudes, they don't get anything happen to them. Also, Silver is like
hella rich,
really well off. He's rich too,
rich,
so he can pay people off and all that shit.
But how does Kreese fly back and forth to Japan? Like,
that dude's broke. I don't know.
Broke, no passport, probably. Also, literally still fleeing from prison. Like, I don't
even know if he has a passport,
bro. Let's be real. So that white privilege is so real, man. It's so real. I hope people are laughing with the sarcasm here.
I hope so too. But this is crazy.
So obviously I don't think that he redeemed himself completely, but Silver was going to kidnap Lawrence's wife and newborn baby to show him a lesson, right? To get him to lose the match.
Psycho.
And then you see Kreese kill the henchman, and then Kreese blows up the thing.
Yeah.
And my father was talking about some of this stuff, When I die, I know where I'm going, kid. He tells me this every once in a while. I'm letting you know I'm going to hell. I'm like, I get it, Pop. You're going to hell. I get it. And so I wonder if like last hurrahs like that make the health experience a little less, like maybe you got less sins on your name. I have no idea. If you have less of a debt on your ledger, I just think about things like that. So when people are trying to redeem themselves, I'd rather them do it eventually than never. It just, dude, it took you. It took him 78 years. You Googled, that's how old he is. It's like, Jesus Christ.
And he did like one thing.
One thing.
Like one thing.
Two things.
Good.
No, three things. Well,
two or three things.
He had the other Asian lady kill her father. I don't know if that was the best move, right? You know, so.
Yeah.
And then he said sorry to Johnny, and then he killed Silver.
Yeah. Which.
It doesn't make up for
much. I don't
much.
think that makes up for all the shit he did.
It does not. So.
and I think that I think that people can change and I think people can redeem themselves, obviously. I really do.
Yeah.
I think they can. But in this context with him, he has been doing this shit for so long that it's just like you didn't even have years to think about the problems or the things or even apologize to all the people that you wronged, not just Johnny, but all the people. Russo alone deserves like an hour apology from him for all the shit that he brought in. Not only letting Johnny and his friends terrorize him, but then also bringing in the Silver to his life also because he brought him in too. So him alone and his family alone, he should be apologizing to all of them.
A lot of people.
Not just Johnny. There's a lot more people. And if you learn through anything through like AA or any type of just trying to, apologize and be to people,
accountability,
you have to go to them and you have to make sure
amends.
Yeah, you have to make amends with those people. He did not do that here. And yes, he did save like a lot of like trouble by killing Silver. But he's the one who brought it on in the first place. He's the one who brought him back to Cobra Kai.
He brought him back.
So that's the thing. Like, and he made him go crazy again. Silver was just chilling.
He was
like medicated to the fullest, ready to just live life in the rich guy fashion.
Yep.
And Priest brought him back. So,
So this is why I bring this up. Technically, I forgot. I wanted to show you guys the scene, but we'll put it on the Instagram. It's when Johnny Lawrence gets to take back over as Cobra Kai, and then it's Miguel and the girl, right? They get to do it, and there's this little nod he does to Kreese, Johnny, and then there's the nod that she does because she looks up to him like a father too. He apologizes to her before he kills himself.
Right.
And then I should have been a better teacher to you, this and that. So, but still, a lot of people affect over. And so how do we use this as a teaching moment? I'm doing a lot of couples therapy these days, Spence. A lot of couples therapy and a lot of addiction therapy these days. And a lot of folks are autistic. And it's the same old things that me and you have seen in other people that come on or relationships, right? You get, maybe the autistic dude, ADHD, executive functioning's a little bad, right? They're not doing the things or showing up or cleaning or being more attentive in certain ways. Mm-hmm. And eventually there's no return. Eventually you spoil the relationship to where there's no return. There's no reason to trust you. I should just move on and find a better pasture because this one, I'm not going to fully change you. You need to do it on your own. And so I've been asking clients, what's your threshold? When do we shit or get off the pot in this marriage, this relationship? And so this is this type of thing with like Kreese is when do we allow ourselves to forgive the other person, but not necessarily have them fully back in our lives because we need to have boundaries and be safe. Spence, I think you would laugh at some of these stories that I have in my head where I'm like, there's so many red flags here. Like, the fact that I'm even having these conversations with people, I'm like, you're literally just a walking red flag. And some of the people in marriage counseling are like, yeah, I know. I'm like, I'm glad y'all know. Like, you're trash.
Yeah.
And so I'm working with a lot of folks, man. And it's like, where's redemption at? Even for a lot of my folks that are using substances, Spence. Mm-hmm. Where's redemption at? right? Can we get over the sins of our past because of all the drugs that we use, the things that we've done, the idiocy? Well, you never hurt anyone, but we've hurt our family, maybe, you know. So it's like, where do we finally forgive ourselves and allow ourselves to make amends? I think for this guy, it took till he's fucking 80 years old, but hopefully for all of you listening, that you pushed your loved ones or others to start showing up. It's a lot of what I'm dealing with these days, Spence, is just people having trouble just showing up and being willing to have these hard conversations, or it's my folks that are actually trying to do better, but they think that they're irredeemable, which most likely Kreese is. In your eyes, in my eyes, he is too. He is.
Yeah.
But for most people, we're not irredeemable because you ain't doing horrible shit. Like the stuff you've done is small things.
Yeah. You didn't lead a gang of
kids. You didn't manipulate a bunch of kids, like, and then murder a bunch of people. Yeah. Right? You've used some stuff. You've done some stuff. You've had some horrible arguments and blow-ups. And you've been nasty and mean, but that's all redeemable if you change now. You have to change now. I'm trying to tell y'all, you have to start now. You got to get the fuck out of your own way and stop avoiding therapy. Stop avoiding, quitting what you're doing. Start maybe doing the medication you should be doing. So just smoking yourself to death. That weed ain't going to help you get through everything.
Mm-hmm.
The alcohol ain't going to help you get through everything. The porn ain't going to help you get through everything. Okay. It'll help you get through some shit,
We got it.
All right. Irredeemable. Let's get into this last scene. Oh my God. The first word in the last scene, it just says coochie.
Of course it does.
Explain the last scene where he's getting coached up.
Yeah. So Johnny is now in this tournament. Now he's facing off against the guy who was also being taught by, or no, I don't know if he was taught by him.
Silver just bought him in his dojo.
He bought him.
Yep.
There you go. Bought his dojo.
And
so now they're doing this tournament. Last fight, right? Johnny's losing 2-0 in this fight. And so, he's down bad. And then actually one of the characters from part 2 was there just being like, Danielson, you need to coach Johnny up because he's losing bad. And you're the one that is his sensei. You know his mentality. You know what he's thinking. You gotta, hype him up to get him back into this. And so Danielson is telling him, just stop being a pussy and just be you, Johnny. Be you. Sweep the leg, Johnny. Sweep the leg.
Sweep the leg.
And yes, and that's actually hilarious because that's what it ends on, him sweeping.
I know. I guess I didn't put that together. Yeah, look at that.
And so Johnny comes back, wins the whole thing. And so now, once again, we have this part of redemption, right? Where Johnny, from the beginning of his journey, he lost to Danielson. But now, at the end of the show, we finally get to see Johnny win. And I don't think he needs to win this tournament, right, in order to have a great life, because he has a good woman. He has now like 2 sons and a baby. Like, even though like one's from like a different relationship and then one's not his, but he brought in these kids and they're like his sons to him, right? He's finally being a father figure that he wish he had and things like that, which is fantastic. But he finally wins this tournament that's eluded him all those years, and he did it with the coaching of what was his enemy, I guess, for a long time as well. So great scene when we come to just redemption, and then also saying that even if it takes years and years, you can still redeem yourself and you can still make it on top, even though it might take you longer, right? We always think of, especially in this day and age, that we have to get things done now, but working yourself up to a certain point and building up yourself and taking time for yourself is always a great thing as well. And so I think that it's a great lesson that we can not only make ourselves better and bring ourselves up to a higher level and higher quality of what we are, but then we can also do it at our own pace instead of like what we think society's pace is. So
Well said, brother. I showed this scene for a couple reasons. That one I'll stick with. So, you didn't succeed when you were young, but doesn't mean that you failed. Also, maybe what you thought was a W when you were a kid, most likely is going to be a different W when you're older. And so for him, this W, they were talking about it during the show. You're happy now. You got a wife. You got a family. Everyone's healthy. And then he says, I don't need to win. He goes in and tells that guy before the fight, I don't need to win. And then he pretty much calls him a bitch. He said, I'm going to humiliate you in front of your wife. And I'm going to beg you to die. You're going to want to die and then he fucking beats him up. And he said something horrible about his son or something. Said something horrible about his son. That's when Johnny snaps and he almost breaks his arm in the locker room. And so now he's like, shit, I need to win now. But all he did was psych him out. So in actuality, he's a winner. He's a winner because he got over a lot of the alcohol usage. He's starting to be emotionally intact with himself, with his wife, his loved one, and his 2 boys. Homeboy has won at life, but he ain't got all the money and clout. And so he needs this win because he wants to get some money to help pay for his kids' colleges, right? He wants to provide, wants to be a man, wants to feel like he has a purpose and his wife can look up to him and his newborn child will be proud. But in actuality, them kids already love him and his wife already loves him without the money, because of the way he's been showing up for them in the last couple seasons, last couple years. And so what does redemption look like? What are you chasing and why? All of you listening, why do you think you're a failure? Does it matter how long it actually takes you to get what you want? Well, they're getting it done between, they're 22 and they already got this, and that. Okay. But if you still get all that at 30 or 40, aren't you still a winner? Well, I'm not in love and I didn't find my partner in college. I told you, Spencer, I was talking to my boss earlier this week. He said, I didn't find my partner until 42. Fell in love for the first real time at 42. And this was like during COVID and shit too, right? So shit was like wild. Yeah. I said, you just never know how life's going to shake out, man. You just never know. So this redemption story is magnificent because you see a boy that was a bully, but technically he was a victim. And then you get to see him become a winner. But not because he just won some stupid fucking fight, but because he showed up to be a real man and a lover, a person, a human. And he regulated his emotions a lot better in this last season too, where him and LaRusso could coach together. You see maturity. That's what this shit's all about. Can you handle life and not want to die? And then maybe have some really good moments and people that you love at the end. Second reason why I wanted to do this is because coach people or teach people the way you need it. So for you therapists or caregivers, or for you that are looking for therapists or coaches, mentors, sometimes you need a coach who's going to talk to you in the way you need to be talked to, affirmed. And so you see Johnny, right? He's telling LaRusso, I don't need that defensive bullshit. Don't tell me that. Ground yourself and calm your mind, right? He looked at him. LaRusso was like, get geeked up. It's Cobra Kai, no mercy, all that other bullshit, right? And so that's what geeked him up to get a couple points, right? You saw that spark in his eye, that swag. He's like, fuck yeah. There's certain moments with like a parent or a therapist where you have to meet the kid or the person where they're at. Not everyone's going to understand your viewpoint or the way you say things or your maturity, your depth of knowledge and trauma. It's like when some people try to teach on racial stuff, Spence, and they act like some of these white folks know everything, and then so they berate them and belittle them. Like they don't know any of it. Yeah. So give it to them in crumbs, feed it to them. Don't get mad at them because they don't know.
Right.
Well, other people are going to hate me because I said that. But in my reality, if you want to teach someone, you can't call them a dumbass and then try to teach them. It's not going to work.
Doesn't really work.
I agree they're a dumbass, but
let them find that out on their own.
Let's slowly educate, right? And, feed.
Yeah.
You got to feed people the foods that they want to be fed, right? We're all autistic on here. There's only certain foods we're eating, kid.
But like, like to that point,
Go
I
ahead.
mean, like, have you ever had to like, if somebody yelled at you how to do like a math problem, right?
Shutting down.
You're not going to do the math problem as well because you're doing it out of fear, and
Yep.
it's not going to help you in the long run.
It's not
And
the
it's going
way.
to create even more anxiety for you to do that. So when you have somebody who cares and who takes the time to explain things to you, that's when
It
you
kicks
really
in.
start to learn, because then you're like, oh, okay, now I get it. The fact that you're taking this time to do that helped me actually learn it instead of just doing it.
And maybe it's not going to be just explaining math. Maybe you're going to be using the word problems. Maybe you're going to be using like candy or money.
Yeah, I mean, it was just as the math example,
I like the math
like,
example though. It's like, are you going to use the kids' skills? Maybe you're going to use basketball figures, sports figures.
Yeah.
Maybe they're autistic as shit and you're going to use Legos. Like, I don't know. But can you meet them where they're
Legos
at?
do you eat
I
in
mean,
one sitting?
if you ate 7 Lego and you started with 10 Lego, how many Legos you got?
6.
Well, how many you done too? Now, how many you got?
Now we got 6.
Now you got nothing. Fuck you.
And you threw them back up. How many you got now?
Sam. I treat every client differently, right? Based on what they bring to session. And recently, a couple kids checked me. It's interesting. One boy was like, I'm like, what? Why are you looking at me funny? He's like, well, you just said I might be autistic. He's like, you just said that. You threw that out there with no context or nothing. What do you think I am, some fucking dork? And I was like,
Jesus.
What's going on right now? Right. And so I apologize for just throwing some stuff out there, but I was asking some questions because there was some autism stimming and rocking that was going on. There's a lot of stuff other than just ADHD. That's what everyone says. It's ADHD. I'm like, okay, kid.
Okay.
You
right.
didn't make the third Lego in my office, I think.
Yeah. You like Star Wars a little too much.
I know.
Right.
And then the kid goes, I ain't some fucking dork. I said, look at the office you're in right now. This is pretty dorky.
I ain't no dork.
So I'd apologize and kind of skirt around that and like help them understand why I thought that was the thing. Another kid said, like, I felt invalidated by you because you just said this one thing when I mentioned something. I said, well, what was it? And they told me, and I said, okay. I don't remember how I said it, so I will apologize. But most likely I was thinking out loud and I'm spitballing a couple things that this could have been. I thought maybe it was an ADHD characteristic. You thought I was brushing it off. I took it validity from what you said. I just didn't think it was this intense thing that you said, which was like hearing voices. I didn't think it was like a schizophrenic thing. I thought you're hearing multiple things and you're having your narrator in your head say things. And so it was good conversation, right? And they're like, oh, that makes sense. And now that I understand that you do this, then I won't be offended if that happens up again. But I said also bring it up to me in session. Yeah. Don't hold on to it for 2-3 weeks. My God, I don't want you to live with that pain.
Right.
And so they hold me accountable and they know I'm fallible, which we talked about earlier. Mm-hmm. But we're also meeting them where they're at and changing as things go. Every mentor therapist should do that. This is what I'll end on is you as a mentor, you're the smart one, you're the older one and the wiser one. You should be able to read the person better than what this young kid could. And if you can't get them to talk, then you need to find ways to talk. And Spence, I was just recently editing the pods and I went back and listened to Coach Sager. God damn, that's a good ass coach, bro.
Yes.
The shit he was saying about listening to this Formula One racing to get the other kid to engage and light up. And that is how you teach and mentor other people. So if you're looking on how to better do this as a coach, I need you to go back and listen to Rocky 3 with us. Mm-hmm. If you want to see, don't be like Kreese. I need you to be more like Coach Sager on Rocky 3. Go back and listen to that pod, folks.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it, man. I really enjoyed that Johnny got his 40-year win.
Yeah.
I love that he has a good family now, too. I love that they're going to build out this thing. And I love that he gets to start his own franchise of Cobra Kai with a clean slate without all the bullshit and the trauma.
Yeah.
Yep.
New Cobra Kai. All right. So with that, just going to say, go check out Cobra Kai, 6 seasons. Pretty good. Pretty
Pretty
good
good.
show. Pretty good show. Um, and I also do love the show that they kind of take a little bit of like the 80s kind of like corniness and they brought it into the show as well. And they deal with a lot of great topics on it as well,
They
like
do.
actually like deep topics. So yeah, go check it out. It's on Netflix. And then also check out the other Karate Kids.
Yeah.
Great on there too.
Yeah.
Can't wait for the new one to come out with Jackie Chan
I know.
and Danielson. So it'll be a very interesting movie to now watch with everything that's possibly being set up for that.
I
So
know.
we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see if Johnny Lawrence makes an appearance in there with Cobra Kai. That'd be pretty dope.
Could.
But we'll see. They might just stick with the Karate
Yeah.
Kids
Yeah.
in that one, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
But yeah, with that, I'm Spencer. That's Nas. Different Spectrum Podcast.
All right, everyone. Much love. And remember, take care of yourselves.
Or don't.
It's completely up to you. Peace.